Blood of My Blood will return for another season, and I couldn't be more excited. Ellen and Brian managed to escape, but they're being tracked down as the war gets closer. Julia, Henry, and their baby, on the other hand, are about to get caught while they're just seconds away from traveling through the stones. So let's see what season 2 has in store for us before getting into all the release date and trailer details, shall we? Let's start with Ellen and Brian. Right now, they've got Murtaugh on their side, as well as Mrs. Fitz and Jocasta, though I'm not sure whether they'll be able to protect Ellen much longer. They're together, but being together is going to cost them everything. Brian had to kill Malcolm, and do you remember what Malcolm's uncle told Ellen? Yeah, he said that if she broke his nephew's heart, he'd rip hers right out of her chest. His uncle is scary as hell, and what's worse is that he meant every single word he said. Okay, so the Grant clan doesn't have a lord, and Malcolm's uncle will naturally take that role. Even though Dougal married Malcolm's sister, that won't be enough for the uncle. He'll do anything to hunt down Ellen and Brian. So our lovely couple will have to face both the chaos of battle and the uncle's rage. It's going to be really difficult for them, but we already know they'll survive long enough to have 3 children. So I guess it'll turn out fine for now. Thanks to Outlander, we know that Dougal and Brian fought side by side, so this war might actually bring them closer. I don't think Dougal or Colum will immediately forgive Ellen and Brian, but at least Dougal might soften up a bit once Brian earns his respect through bravery. Now, I've got one more theory for Ellen and Brian, but it's connected to Julia and Henry's story. So let's talk about them first. Let's start with the facts. While it's likely that both Julia and Henry have a gemstone on their bodies, we don't know if William has one. From what we know, one person having multiple stones doesn't count for another traveler, so William definitely needs his own. And since Julia and Henry didn't bother to talk about what actually happened and how they managed to travel through time, I don't think they've connected the dots or realized that each person needs their own gemstone. What we also know for sure is that neither Julia nor Henry reunited with Claire. So even if they managed to travel through time, they're not going back to her. Now, there are a few possibilities here. First theory, Julia and William managed to go through the stones but end up in a different time, where they either get lost or don't survive. In this case, Henry might return to the Grants, where he'll either be killed or barely escape, maybe even finding himself traveling through time later on like a man who's completely lost it. Second theory, both Henry and Julia go through the stones and leave William behind. Since Henry was holding Julia's hand when she touched the stone, he might accidentally go with her. If that happens, Archbug could find William and take him in. We know Arch and Merdina couldn't have children, so maybe they'll keep William a secret, you know? And the last theory, none of them have gemstones on their bodies, which means they're stranded between the stones, with the Grants closing in. Julia and Henry might try to convince the Grants not to separate them and to let them stay together. In that case, I can't even imagine what Simon would do. Now back to my Ellen and Brian theory that connects to Julia and Henry. I feel like in season 2, we'll see Ellen pregnant with her first child, William. And here's where things get confusing. Julia and Henry's son is also named William. I can't stop thinking that Ellen and Brian might have ended up raising Julia and Henry's baby after something terrible happened to them. What if Julia and Henry travel through the stones but accidentally leave William behind because he doesn't have a gemstone? Or what if Henry and William get left behind and something tragic happens to Henry afterward? The possibilities are endless, and I know I might be overthinking this, but don't you think this could actually happen? Let me know what you think. Is it just a coincidence that both couples named their sons William or not? Now let's talk about the release date. Blood of My Blood was renewed for another season, even before season 1 premiered, so we don't have to worry about that. The good news is that production kicked off at the beginning of summer. We also know that Outlander season 8 is coming in early 2026, So a late 2026 release for Blood of My Blood sounds just right. A teaser will probably drop a few months before the release, followed by a full trailer about a month prior. Now, tell me your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to watch this next video.